Hi, Carolina.
Hi, how are you? Sorry, I think we're a little bit
Oh, no,
chaotic.
no, no problem. No, no, no. I'm good. Thank you. Very excited.
Good, good. Me too. Uh, uh, okay, yes. Give me 2 moments to ground. Uh, I need 2 moments to
Yes.
ground. Let me quickly explain a little bit about what we're going to do. So we have the three sessions, right? Um, Today is about finding the core question because what I see is that uh, we can use systemic constellations to to resolve, right, one of the layers, because it's not always multi-layered, right? So we can use uh, we can resolve one of the layers, maybe multiple of the layers, or we can find a root and then everything above it kind of sort of dissolves over the next month. Um, So, based on your message, and let's go, what I would like to do is I would like to, I think there's two things we can do. So, first, your message. You thought about opening or starting on the side of your job a spiritual or mediumship business, right? Do readings for people and support people. Am I right?
And yes. And or I'm thinking and slash or writing books.
Or writing books. And those books would be like you already written a book, of course, and they are have a very symbolic and spiritual meaning, right?
Yeah, I would like to express spirituality through the books, through stories. So, so it could be for children, but maybe also on different topics. But so far, it should be. I was thinking like writing stories, which could be for children, but also for adults.
Okay. What is the goal behind the story? Is it just a fun story? Because I remember from way back when that you told me that the book you have written, that there is a meaning behind it. There's a teaching behind it. And if you want to read it as a normal book, you can read it as a normal book. But if you want to read the spiritual meaning behind it, am I right about that? Did I remember that well?
Yes, you're perfect. Yes, it's
Okay.
exactly like that. Actually it's a story, and I think I did not write with my ego, So it was just when I started to write, it was more automatic writing. The words came flowing. And whenever I thought, oh, how's the story to continue? But it never was as I thought it would be. It would um, continue. It was always something else would be written on the paper. So, and whenever I read the story, it's actually I have like goosebumps for myself. So it's like. So I think it was a gift, from above, and I really would like to publish it. So far, I'm thinking of implementing some drawings, which maybe my goddaughter is now doing for me, and then I will try to maybe publish it. But it's more of a fun. But it's also, I think it's because it really feels that it was written through me, and then I think it maybe is a gift for whoever is supposed to read it, and then they will hopefully get what they are looking for in it, but it's kind of the wisdom which I learned on my journeys, that everything is alive, also nature and the trees and so on.
Yes, I remember. Okay. So, how would you consider that your your psychic and your mediumship, uh, those abilities, how do they relate with writing?
I think when I write, it's really like mm, channeled, so it's
Mhm.
not me writing, it's it feels like really I'm just the instrument who's doing the work, and the words come from above and they flow through me, and I just express it, you know.
Okay. So if that's the case, if I listen to what you're saying, because in the message, you kind of make me have this sensation like it's or this or that. But now that you're talking, it sounds like it's more and that doing readings and doing, using your abilities like that could actually strengthen the book writing and vice versa, right? Because
Yeah, yes.
they're both a practice of connecting with the universe or with the spirit, with spirits, or with him, with the force. Um, and it sounds like it's not an or. It sounds like one can strengthen the other.
That would be my dream, you know, because I really would like to express my creativity in as many ways as possible.
Okay. Um, okay. So you want to set this up next to your day job, right? Your corporate job.
Yes.
Okay. Now, one of the things we discussed quickly on, and I need you to remind me, was and I'm going through. So my idea, there's two types of constellations I have in mind right now for you. And so I'm gonna question you a little bit more to figure out which of the two you naturally flow to. Because
Hmm.
I don't want to make that choice for you. I want you to unconsciously make that choice for yourself. Okay.
Okay.
Um, so yesterday we also touched on confidence, and you saying, I want to start this business, but I don't want other people to find out. And we quickly touched on saying, okay, then what is the reason for that? And what came up for you at that moment was that you felt like a little bit like, "Ooh, what will they think? How will they view me? How will I still be taken serious in the corporate world if I do this particular thing
Yes,
privately?"
exactly.
So if I look at that, do you how much of that of the uh, fear of what other people think, how much of that do you think is stopping you in following through with this dream?
Mm. Mm. It's hard to say. It's um it's very difficult to say. I would say it depends, maybe 50-50.
So it is a certain amount of confidence. If you would be sure that everybody in this world wouldn't reject this part of you and that everybody would accept it, what would be the first step that you would take?
I would love to share my gifts, you know, if this is what I'm here to do. I just have sometimes doubts if this is really my path, you know, to share these gifts, because sometimes I get a lot of knowledge um, and I'm not sure why, you know. So if it's just meant for me, or if it's meant to share, or if it's meant to share publicly, or, you know, so um,
Okay. So your question is around, if I have this, what am I to do with it,
yes. Hmm.
basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Does
one of our
that
sorry, one of our teachers, Andre, I think he was the one. He said um, that you need to be careful to not step out from your ego, and step into public, and be a medium for the world, because a lot of it happens quite often that then your ego steps in, and then you are kind of, you're not serving the higher good. And I really, what I have is that I really want to serve a higher power, but for the best purpose. And if it's meant to be that I just do that, as a hobby and my private, whenever it happens, and I'm fine with it. But if it's a calling which I'm supposed to do in a broad, in a wider space, then I really would like to step out of my fear. And but I really would like to serve, and I'm also afraid that I would abuse my abilities. So that's a huge fear inside of me, because I think I've done that in past lives, and there's a huge blockage, I think. So that's I think a huge obstacle for me.
Well, use your abilities for something that's not serving and that's not positive in me.
Yeah, I think I've in the past I've abused it, or I was forced to abuse it, or maybe both, but I didn't serve um, what I wanted to serve. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I think I put a lot of I don't know, chains and things onto me, that I will never ever use those gifts again, because I'm so afraid that I will, abuse it again. I'm not sure what happened, but I just know that I'm blocking myself.
This sounds like a soul contract almost when you
Yeah,
mention it like that.
but a very complicated one, I think.
Yeah. So what I hear is basically the main theme is trust, because it sounds like trust in myself, trust in others. So trust in myself that I can do this, but also trust in myself that my ego won't take over. Then trust. Oh, and look, we're getting help. I'm getting goosebumps. So this is the theme.
Good time.
We're getting we're getting help from someone, and I can feel it all the way up to my feet. By the way, so it's trusting yourself, that ego won't take over, that uh, that your abilities are strong enough, and that that you won't. And then there's trust in others, that others won't ridicule you, that others won't judge you, and that others won't reject you. And then the third is basically trust in the universe, that it will guide you, or the universe, spirit, however you want to call it, that it will guide you consistently on the right path. And so the big theme is trust. In all of those, trust is, do I trust the path? And then if you combine that with your question that you just said, do I trust that if I see all those different components, do I trust those components? Do I trust enough what I see and what I notice and what synchronicities come to my life? Do I trust that enough to say, yes, now I'm sure this is my soul path?
Yeah, and it's also it's trust in, sometimes I doubt myself very strongly, and I think it's fantasy, or I make things up. So then, yeah, it's also trust, but it's like what you just said. When I have goosebumps, or the people I'm reading, they have goosebumps, then I know it's real, although I can't
Yeah.
prove it. But yeah, I doubt myself very often, because I think it's, who am I to have such an access?
Okay. Well, in that sense, I strongly believe that we all do, but you are, of course, also taking the steps to develop it. I mean, you're in trainings, you're in these sessions, you're trying to
Mm,
move things out of the way. So who are you? Well, you are the person that more than anybody else works on this to make it stronger. And the fact that you work on it to make it stronger, I think, is a very strong indicator that you're doing what you're supposed to do because you keep on driving yourself to to do it, right? If it's
yeah.
not your path, if you don't like, I don't know, if you don't like Zumba, you try one class and then you stop because you think, well, this is not for me, all the dance steps, and I cannot do this. And maybe because you somebody is there and say, come on, let's try again. You'll try 5 classes, but if after 5 classes you still think, okay, my left foot is always standing where my right should be, then you stop, right? The fact that you have been developing this for years and have have the resilience and the drive to keep on doing it kind of makes you qualified. And so why do you have access? Because you work for it.
Sorry, because
Because you work for it. Because you
yeah.
have worked for it and because you're working on it. So,
And
right?
also where if I don't do it, I'm getting sick. I noticed in the past that I really got sick when I cut off from that
There
skills,
you go.
and then I was led back, in a way which was mm, so that I could perceive it. But yeah, I was surprised. With things, and then I couldn't take it, but then I got sick. I really get sick when I don't have that access or I don't practice it, as you say.
So, talking about that, what do you mean with that? And I'm asking you for a reason. Um,
It's like
yeah,
it's like almost, I don't know, it's kind of it's as if you are, let's say, in your mother's womb and your navel, is cut off, and your mom, because you're still in her womb, it can't feed you anymore because you're not connected. It feels as if I cut off that connection and don't let it flow somehow in my life, and then it really feels like I'm dying on an energetic level. I'm getting very sad, very negative, even a bit depressed, and sometimes even, like sickness, like a cold or a flu or whatever, or I have body tension, but it really um, communicates then very clearly through my body, and I get very strong signals, and then when I open up again I can even hear, because that I really must change something, otherwise my body will really give me clear messages to turn around.
tell me, what is the strongest reaction that you had physically?
I had no energy left. I was really like uh, a soulless body walking, there was just no, I was functioning, but there was no life anymore in me. So it really felt like I was cut off so much that I couldn't feel myself anymore. And then, but I really got sick. So in the end, the doctors thought it's magnesium. I have to less magnesium, but in the end, I think it was just because I was cut off from that energies. And I mean, that was a point when it became very bad. I gave up my corporate job, and I had traveled for 1 year, and then I reconnected with my spirituality through indigenous people, and also to nature. And then I was brought back because, I mean, I almost died. The doctors even said that I shouldn't go on that journey because when you have too less magnesium, apparently you can even die. I don't know if it's true, but it's very serious.
Magnesium is also a component that with stress, whichever emotional stress, mental stress, physical stress, it reduces a lot in the body. So if you're under the influence of a lot of energy that you cannot handle, like people, people being around you that are stressed, goosebumps again, people that are around you that get stressed, an environment, a corporate environment where you're
Mm.
driven, right? Or if you have, for example, a business and you are stressed because nothing comes in, or that those moments, those take a lot of your magnesium, and you cannot replenish that enough because it keeps on taking and taking and taking. Okay,
Yeah, and I mean, I really felt like I'm going to die if I don't make a hard cut.
where do you feel that in your body when you talk about it right now? Where do you feel it? Can you identify for me where it is hosted in your body?
I would say it's mostly in the solar plexus and between the navel and solar plexus area.
Okay, okay. Because what I hear is, so there's two. I feel like so there's two things here. We talked about the trust and the confidence, and then now we are basically talking about the what happens if you disconnect. Now I would see that if what happens if you disconnect, that's a very strong resource. And that sounds funny because it sounds like something that is that you would think, well, that's bad for me, right? But in terms of your spiritual development, it's actually good for you
Mm.
because it's a resource. It's something that makes you aware of the fact that you are disconnected. So in your spiritual journey, if you look at how you want to work in the field and how you and in writing books on a right inspired writing level, automatic writing level, you will instantly know when you're disconnected because you will feel sick. So, in that sense, for your spiritual journey, it's actually a resource to be able to recognize when you are disconnected. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, um, I think we're going to do a problem constellation. And I think with that confirmation that you said, yes, that resonates, I think that's where our focus should be
Mm.
because you have a goal, um, and we're gonna go deeper into figuring out what the goal is, right? Because the problem constellation we need six components. One of the components is you, and then we need to identify five others. And in that, one of the components that we need to identify is the resource. Not only a resource that gives you strength, I'm going to ask you about that a little bit later, but also a resource. Hey, how can I identify this is a resource? And
Mm.
even though it's not comfortable, it's not a comfortable resource, but it's a resource. So if you, um, in these moments that you, so I'm now going to move into identifying the other components, but I still need to dig out this one a little bit deeper. If you are in those moments of disconnect and a little bit or a big, like, I mean, I hope you never have to go through that big one again that you have to really disconnect, but if we all have those moments of disconnect. If you have those moments of disconnect, what did you do? What do you think is the most powerful thing that you did during those travels that that basically got you connected again?
I surrendered. I fully trusted. I mean, I gave up everything. I mean, I gave up my apartment. I gave up my life in Switzerland. I gave up really everything, and I traveled just to with a suitcase or with a backpack. And I actually thought that I would end up in Canada, and but I really gave up everything and completely surrendered because the yeah, what helped me is maybe that my mom had died 3 years or 2 years before, and I knew, you know, how endless life is, and then I thought, well, it could be over really any minute, and then I really want to jump and see what happens. And so I fully surrendered and I trusted, and it actually felt good. And I was like, it really felt like someone or something or a higher force was really holding me and guiding me, because through coincidence, I met the perfect people. I met people who really went through the biggest shit ever, and I would call them enlightened beings, you know, because they really went through the mud and made it, you know, and got out of drugs and whatever they were through. And so, and I only met those. No one ever believes me, that no, they all have alcohol problems. Yeah, but I didn't meet them, you know. I only met the ones who really are beyond that, you know, way beyond that. So, and that inspired me because uh, and and that really helped me to see what we are able to do. You know, I mean, we can go through. And I had two huge crises already in my life, so that was just the second call. And but it
Okay.
always helps me, because my biggest yearning in life, in this life, is to really to connect and to find out who I am, and to connect with a higher power or whatever that is. But that's such a huge yearning for me. It's incredible. I can't even put it into words.
So, what do you do today if you feel disconnected?
At work or
No, in general, if you feel disconnected from source, what do
oh
you what action do you take to get that connection back? Do you meditate? Do you talk to people, other people, right? That have that connection? Do you take, what do you do?
yes, I meditate almost daily if I can. And as you said, I do a lot of classes where I meet like-minded people, because meditations and going into the power is a different training.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely different things. You focus on different ways, and I really like to. Or for me, it's very important to connect with like-minded people who are on the same path. You know, to inspire each other, to help to remember. Because when I do not have that, or if I don't have that for, let's say, a few weeks, if I don't talk to someone who is on the same path, then I start to miss the connection already.
Okay, so another resource in this is meditation, development, and community,
Hmm.
basically. Okay.
Yes.
So as I want to keep this within you, I would like to propose to use meditation and self-development in this, because that makes it internal. And I think that might be more powerful as a resource than an external resource. Although external resources are helpful, people around you are helpful, supportive, and we can always add them in the constellation if we want. That's okay. Let's let's dig in a little bit deeper into the goal. What if you I'm just gonna ask this question as openly as I possibly can, after what we just discussed, right? If you have a goal for this particular the work that we're gonna do this today, right? What would be your goal? And then we'll refine it a bit. What if we do a good piece of work, what would be the outcome?
I would like to explore what holds me back, or if it's meant to be that that I really put so much energy into writing books and maybe publish them, because I hesitate to publish them, and or give readings, or to people. Uh, but well, explore it, and then, yeah, well, best case, to remove obstacles which are blocking me. If it's meant to be that I this is the service which I can provide publicly to the world, that I can step into it, and finally do it without fear, and but with trust.
Okay. And do that with trust. Okay, so what did I get from that? Your goal is of the work today is to explore if it's meant to be, but basically you're also saying the goal is to unblock stuff
Mm.
that allow me to see if it's meant to be without fear.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so then what I and I want you to feel if this resonates, what I got from the things that are blocking, that are basically the obstacles that are in the way, is imposter syndrome very strongly, right? Why me? And the the fear of judgment. Am I right with that? Do you want to add something to that?
No, I think it's and the fear of not delivering
Mm.
the high quality messages, or the messages which are supposed to deliver. So, if, let's say, if I deliver messages as a medium, I really would like to deliver how it's meant to come across, without me filtering anything or adding anything. So, I would like to give the clearest possible information.
That's a really good one. So it's the fear of not delivering the message. And actually that's a that's perfect because that comes in with your books as well as with your readings.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. That's it's not a nice obstacle, but for this particular work, it's a perfect obstacle. Okay. So now, one question: if if none of this fear, none of this imposter syndrome, none of these other people that might think things, if none of those would exist, um, what is your next must-do step to reach your goal, to publish and to read people?
Yeah, to publish the books, um, and make myself somehow visible so that people can find me. And but I also have the problem maybe to put it into clear words. Maybe clarity is a huge problem for me because I don't know how to describe what exactly I can share. So it's and maybe clarity is a topic.
Consequence.
Sorry.
That sounds like a consequence, and that sounds as well as a the clarity is the so if I would put this in just in neuroscience, right? What we very often tend to do is look at the how first, then at the what, and then at the why.
Mm,
And actually, if you want to, in manifestation, for example, as well, if you want to manifest things and if you want to move forward with things, it's actually you think the other way around. So basically, creators first thing in the why, then in the what, and then in the how.
Mm.
And you did that before. If you look at your first book, you you wrote that because you knew why you wanted to write that. You wanted to teach somebody something, right? If I'm if I'm correct, your nieces or children of friends, or
Yes.
there was a why. There was a strong why am I going to do this? Because I want to teach them something. I want to give them something that I struggled with in a playful way.
Yes.
And with that why, you started the what, which was your book. Well, I can do this with a book. And then the how, you just started writing, and the how kind of went on its own, and you got the automatic writing, you got the downloads, you got the channeling, you got everything.
And it
Now,
was very easy and joyful, and I was completely in the flow.
there, there you go. So what you're now doing is, because of the fear, right? If you're afraid, you will, and this is not you consciously, but unconsciously, your brain will give you a ton of reasons to not do it.
Mm.
And so what happens when we're not in the flow, what happens when we go into our basically our survival brain, the brain that only is there to make us survive, nothing else. It doesn't make us happy, it doesn't make us anything. What happens is that brain turns that cycle around, and it starts saying, no, no, we first need to know exactly how before we go into the what. And the why is really not important. So that part of your brain can look at the how, that first thing. It sometimes it can look at the what, but it never even reaches the why am I doing this. So getting in the flow is turning that around and consciously turning it around and saying, okay, for this I first need the why, and then the what, and then the how. So when you hear yourself saying to yourself, I don't know how I'm going to do it, then that's a really good awareness, that a really good realization that at the moment you're asking yourself that question, you're in your survival brain and not in your
Mm.
creative brain. Because the how will come like it did with your book,
Yeah,
because the
true.
reasons are right. And so, and if you look at what you said, right? You want to do this. Why? Because you want to support people. You want to have that. There's a driver behind that, that when you don't do it, you even get physically ill.
Yes.
That's your why. That's your why, and that's all you need to know. And the
Mm.
what, that's it. The moment we remove those blockages that we're going to remove, the what will become clearer and clearer. And then the how am I going to do it? How am I going to tell this to people? How? And of course, you need to do that. But people will find you, because when the what is clear, oh, when people ask you, so what do? You say, well, I give readings, and I write books. I write spiritually inspired books. People that connect with you will say, oh, that's amazing. But because it will spread like a wildfire, right? So the how and the clarity is not at this moment not that important. See where I'm
Mm.
going?
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
So
On, as always.
stay in the creative part of your brain. So yes. And so what I hear is the why is clear for you. The what is basically, I need to make myself visible. And then your fear came up. Why did your fear come up? Because in the very beginning, you had exactly that. I I want to publish. I want to do readings. I want to support people mediumistically. I want to, but I don't want people to see me. I don't want corporate to see me. I don't want so the visibility is the big um, basically the a thing that is so fearful for you being visible that your brain starts putting all these obstacles in place.
Mm.
So if I compressing that, your future task, the one thing you must do to get this off is to become visible, at least for some people.
Mm.
Is that right?
Yes. It sounds right, but hard.
Yes. um, we can dig into that, or we can just leave it that high level. Like become visible is a thing. Um, it's high level and it's deep enough and it's still high level. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what's best, yeah, but I think the visibility is a huge topic.
Final question, and this is usually the most difficult one. There is something that you gain from not doing this work, right? From not doing this work openly. There's something that you gain from not developing your business out of out of with having this. There's something you gain from not publishing your books. There's something you gain from not telling people that you do readings. There's something you gain. What do you think is the biggest thing that you gain from staying exactly where you are?
Hmm. Yeah, I guess I don't have to make myself vulnerable, I don't have to put myself out there. So I can hide, I can feel safe by not being seen.
Okay.
It's like then if I don't step into the arena, it's like what Brené Brown once said, if you don't step into the arena, you're always safe. But the one who is going into the arena, even if he's not doing well, I mean, he was brave enough to do that. And I just feel it's safer to not step into the arena and to be seen by everyone and to be worst case, to be burned at the stakes or whatever.
So what you gain from it is safety.
Yes, I tend to tell myself it's safer, but in the end it's not safer because then my body gets sick.
It sounds and it's quite the battle you have there between physically and spiritually. That's quite the battle. And then emotionally staying safe, basically reptilian brain,
Mm.
survival brain. It's quite the battle, and that's not something that is uncommon, huh? Because
Mm.
it's what's basically what in the mindset world they call inner conflict. There's this there's your growth brain that wants to grow out of your cocoon and become a butterfly, and there's this your reptilian brain that says, but the cocoon is so nice and safe, let's
Mm.
stay there. And depending on what you work on, that the the growth brain wins or the reptilian brain wins. But it's always a battle, And if you look at the neurologically speaking, it's very often a battle that takes, you have like an insight, you start acting on that, and then 6 or 8 weeks, in between 6 and 8 weeks later, the 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 reptilian brain, the survival brain says, "Oh wait, but now we're getting to this point because you start right, and you start and you start, and it slowly starts to go up, and then at some point it does this, and the moment, and now I really have to be visible, and
Mm.
then the survival brain says, "Oh wait, there's now I got 25 likes on a post, that's scary," and what very often happens is that people then start to tune down, and because their survival brain basically says now it's becoming, up to this point I could sort of accept this whole growth phase you're going through, but now I'm at this point where I think, this is a little bit too much growth, and then it starts battling back basically,
Mm.
and your survival brain starts battling back. So you will notice, of course, today uh, we're gonna explore, right? We're first gonna explore what is how all these components interact with each other, and we're gonna get that unconscious brain outside and put it on the field. And your survival brain will be walking around on the field energetically as well. So it's going to be amazing to see how that will. And and after we did this work, um, depending on which layer we touch, in about 6 weeks, when you there is going to be that battle, and you're going to remember me, and you're going to think, 6 weeks. So it's going to be around mid October. So hey, you're going to remember me, and you're going to think, right, now I feel, because it when that battle happens, both brains are going to raise the stakes, and so your survival brain is gonna make you even scareder than you feel today about being visible, and your growth brain is gonna even push more, like, no, I want to do this, I want to do this. So there's going to be an
Mm.
enthusiasm, a really nice enthusiasm, because of what you experience and what you see, and the synchronicities that the universe is gonna give you, and then because of that, your survival brain is going to say, wait, let me raise the stakes. But this person was not nice to me, and that happened, and this happened, and all these, and it's going to collect all these evidences of why you shouldn't do it. While,
Mm.
on the other hand, your growth brain is going to collect all this evidence of why you should. So you'll notice. Anyway, long story, but very useful always. Um,
Yeah, thank you for telling me. So,
I think we have everything. So I will, let's take a break. Oh, we're actually, I cannot believe that I'm right on time. Let's take a break. We'll see each other in 30 minutes, and then
yes.
I will, it's good because then it can land, and then
Mm-hmm.
I will feed back to you what I've written down as the
Mm-hmm.
components of the constellation, and then, because then you can listen to it with fresh ears. Does
Mm-hmm.
that make
Yes.
sense? Instead
Yes.
of us going and continuing, let's settle it. Let it settle. Let the dust settle a bit, and
Yes.
then I'll repeat it, and then we still have the yes, we'll have that. We'll have that. In the meantime, in that half hour, I'm gonna send you the link of the environment with the
Mm-hmm.
class code, so that
Yeah.
you can log in, so that you can control your own avatar,
Oh, nice. Nice.
uh, which is nice.
Great. Thank
Cool.
you so much. So, see you in a bit.
See you in 30 minutes. Did I organize another one for that?
Yeah, you sent another call already, so it's all set. Yes.
Perfect. Okay,
Thank
cool.
you. See you later. Bye.
See you.